Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. As always, I'm Grestar, and this is another reaction to a death battle, Scarlet Witch versus Zatanna. As always, the link to the original is in the description below. So Scarlet Witch from Marvel versus Zatanna from DC. I don't know Zatanna at all. I really only know Scarlet Witch from, the recent Marvel movies. And my friend, when the last death battle was revealed to me, when I watched the last one, Harley Quinn versus Jinx, she pointed out that, hey, Riz, maybe, since this one heavily involves Scarlet Witch, considering she's one of the combatants, you should maybe watch Multiverse of Madness so that you don't get spoiled by anything. And I was like, you know what? Great thinking. That's a good idea. I'll do that. And then I forgot. So, I still have not seen that movie. If there are spoilers in this about that, just, oh well, I'll just have to deal with it. But what I figure, honestly, is, most of the powerful feats for, any combatant, really, comes from the comics, if they have comics. And Scarlet Witch certainly does have, comics. So I'm thinking that her most powerful feats are going to come from those, probably only going to touch on the movies for the sake of just being relevant a little bit, because obviously the movies are popular. But I'm hoping that I can avoid too many spoilers about the movie specifically, but if I do get spoiled, whatever, I'm sure it'll still be an enjoyable time. I just want to say I don't know Zatanna, at all. I'm assuming that she also has, witchy reality warping powers, but I don't even know to what extent Wanda, or Scarlet Witch, has those. So, I've heard all of the arguments that Scarlet Witch could have, soloed Thanos, but I don't know the basis for that. I don't know if they're talking, movie Scarlet Witch could have soloed movie Thanos. I don't know if they're saying comic book Scarlet Witch could have soloed movie Thanos. Or if movie Marvel Scarlet Witch could have beaten comic Thanos, you know what I mean? They're all different combinations that I don't know if they're true. And if movie Scarlet Witch could have beaten comic Thanos, that would be huge, right? Because comic Thanos is surely way more powerful and threatening than movie Thanos was. But if it's comic book Scarlet Witch that could have beaten movie Thanos, obviously, no problem. But yeah, so I don't really know what to expect with this one. I'm looking forward to seeing what it's all about. So with that, let's get to watching. So here we go for a death battle. Scarlet Witch versus Zatanna. Take it away.
The Scarlet Witch.
That's
Marvel's
right, there she is.
Queen of chaos.
Zatanna, DC's
Zatanna.
Mistress of Magic.
I've been saying Zatanna this whole time. My bad, it's Zatanna.
To reshape creation to their whims.
Okay, so they both can do that, yeah.
Who just like to put on a hell of a show. Either way, don't mess with them if you know what's good for you.
Fair.
He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle.
Cool. From what very little they've shown of Zatanna so far, I like her style.
We may drift day by day in a world seemingly concrete and eternal, the fabric of reality is in fact more delicate than we might dare to wonder. Imagine every single iota of it, every star, galaxy, universe, all within the grasp of a single mortal woman.
That's a lot.
To control at her whim. Imagine the danger we're all in if you piss her off.
We don't have to, because her name is Wanda Maximoff, the Scarlet Witch. As a kid, she and her brother Pietro were Romani, who were lucky enough to be turned into super-powered freaks by the High Evolutionary.
Unable to control her abilities, it wasn't long before Wanda lost control and was branded a witch.
Until who would show up but the mutant master of magnetism himself, Magneto.
So they're going off of the X-Men origin then?
Energy there.
So, to return Magneto's kindness, she and Pietro joined his Brotherhood of Evil Mutants.
Just because there's the
name there, Magneto, solid branding.
Yeah, right. There's a distinction between the movie one and
membership with the Avengers, which might have been a bit too much for poor Wanda because she definitely drew the superpower short stick.
By waving her hands,
Wait,
Wanda could create small random events known as hexes, subtly altering the probability of any event happening.
That's a cool way of saying she could do one magic-y thing per fight and then be totally useless.
Oh no!
Here, some telekinesis there, a force field if she's feeling frisky. Not exactly the same oomph as, say, the God of Thunder or the Jolly Green World.
Well, then why did she become amazing?
Something strange was happening. Over time, her hexes increased in breadth and power, as if there was more to Wanda's powers than met the eye. She learned to slow and stop time, drain and absorb energy, duplicate herself and others, teleport to different dimensions, and even strip others of their powers entirely.
It was almost as if there was more to Wanda than just being some random science experiment. Let's ask our resident expert on the deepest trenches of character history. Jocelyn, if you will.
Hello.
In reality, Wanda's powers weren't entirely the result of the High Evolutionary, nor was she the mutant daughter of Magneto, as he's claimed. Her powers weren't just some simple hexes. She might as well have been a god. Until now, she had merely been dipping her toes into the vast ocean known as chaos magic. Though her powers may have seemed to be the byproduct of science, they were in reality the gift of the Lovecraftian elder god Cthon, who attempted to turn Wanda into his future vessel.
Reminds me of my summers by the sea with old Uncle Yogg-Sothoth.
In time, Wanda discovered she could alter the probability of anything she could think of, turning a mathematical impossibility into an absolute certainty.
Really?
And vice versa. Wanda's powers kept growing and growing, turning her into a being strong enough to rival even the mightiest of gods. Like, literally, Wanda's chaos magic is counterpart to the Phoenix Force, the embodiment of cosmic order. You know, that fiery space chicken that can destroy the universe? Wanda fought it, and even briefly erased it from existence.
At her height, the Scarlet Witch achieved total control over energy, the weather, the elements, your mind, your body, your soul, all of time, all of matter, and all of reality. She can wipe you from existence with a thought and rend the very fabric of the universe as though it were tissue paper.
She isn't even limited to chaos magic either. They might not have been what made her a god, but the High Evolutionary's experiments did make her more receptive to channeling magical energy. Oh, maybe that's why Mama Boomstick always warned me about
already do it with a thought.
She's so receptive, in fact, that Wanda is the lone nexus being of the 616 reality. A focal point for the universe's magical energies, and one that belongs equally to all other timelines.
It's no wonder she was considered a candidate for Sorcerer Supreme. I mean, shit, why wasn't she? She might as well be a walking, talking Infinity Gauntlet.
Well, she may have the power of a god, but she's still stuck with a human's body that can be overpowered by physically stronger foes. Though, she also survived being shot with a black matter bullet capable of, and I quote, world-shattering energy. So there's
what? That doesn't make sense. Her body would be obliterated then.
So she could theoretically be blitzed, but she's also blocked Thor's galaxy-crossing hammer, kept up with dudes like X-Man who can fight within plank time, and even on speed beyond the concept of speed herself.
Despite being far and away the mightiest among Earth's mightiest heroes, Wanda resented the pressure of her incredible power. She actually wanted a quiet life as a wife and a mother.
But because no one in comics is allowed to have a happily ever after, that life was taken from her by literal Satan. Not the last time he'd do this.
Satan, that's pretty rude.
And she took the multiverse with her.
By tapping into an inconceivable and unknowable pool of energy known as the Life Force, Wanda rewrote all of reality, creating a new universe where life was just how she wanted it.
No matter whose lives she had to change, in this House of M, she had her family back, but at the cost of her sanity.
And it wasn't long before it all came crashing down around her. Once her family and friends discovered the lie of their new lives and turned against her, she uttered 3 fateful words and erased nearly all of mutant kind. No more mutants.
Wanda weaved her magic throughout all of existence, created cracks across reality which spread throughout the Omniverse, and threatened to annihilate all of creation, the entirety of Marvel's infinite cosmology. Everything that ever was.
Shit got dark, and while Wanda has worked to keep her powers in check since then, that threat is always there. But honestly, that sounds more like a problem for anyone who's stupid enough to get in her way.
Reasonable.
Both a blessing and a curse, a help and a hex. Such is the true power of the Scarlet Witch.
Okay, cool. That seems strong. Let's see how Zatanna does.
Zatanna Zatara. For never was there a greater professor of prestidigital performance.
AKA magic!
Yay!
Except Zatanna's spells aren't just smoke and mirrors, they're the real deal, so you're really getting your money's worth.
She learned everything she knew from her father, Giovanni Zatara, who put his powers to good use as one of DC's very first superheroes.
No joke! He's the guy who taught Batman everything he knows about escape artistry. He did the same issue as Superman, and the young Zatanna was more than happy to serve as his assistant, learning everything he knew about the cutthroat world of entertainment.
Oh no.
Oh, and Cape shit too, but
of course,
is
right.
way worse.
She inherited her father's incredible mystical abilities as well. Essentially, anything Zatanna thinks of, she can make real. And she focuses this absurdly powerful ability by speaking her desired effect backwards. Her father based this technique on the diaries of Leonardo da Vinci, who some theorize wrote backwards in order to hide his ideas from the repressive medieval Catholic Church.
Or because he was left-handed.
That's not
That's
how that
theory.
works.
You hate fun.
And Zatanna's apparently big-brained enough that she has no problem speaking backwards at the drop of a hat. Like when this one dude kept reversing time in the middle of her sentences. She started speaking in palindromes so that she'd still be speaking backwards no matter what. I mean,
interesting.
Say, Wiz, go hang a salami. I'm a lasagna hug.
Right,
With her
yeah.
magic, Zatanna
Weird
has
Al,
bent
love
the
it.
laws of reality to her whims. She's transmuted matter on an atomic level, teleported across dimensions, commanded the elements, turned invisible, removed powers, cast illusions, read and controlled minds, traveled through and stopped time, and can even wipe people from existence with a single word.
It might not seem obvious from that hokey magic castle getup, but Zatanna is one of the
I like
most
the
powerful
getup. That's
sorcerers in DC.
her costume's
like
one of my
the
favorite
time she
parts.
battled the Time Tailor Zor, an old enemy of the Spectre. You
Zor.
know, the angel of God's divine wrath.
In order to defeat an opponent of such unimaginable power, Zatanna focused her magical might into shattering the boundaries of reality. She reached out beyond the very comic panels themselves and pulled Zor's entire magical universe down around him. She literally handled all of reality like it was a sheet of paper and crumpled it in her hands.
That might seem completely incomprehensibly impossible to us, but it's all a matter of belief. Literally, as long as Zatanna believes she can do something with her magic, she'll do it.
As she puts it, her magic is essentially asserting one reality, then replacing it with another. This is similar to other magical characters like Dr. Fate and Green Lantern, whose powers have been stated to work the exact same way.
But it's not like any rando can do magic by wishing on a star. Zatanna is genetically predisposed to this kind of magical reality warping. Her mom was in actuality a homo magi, a subrace of humans that are naturally adept at magic.
Okay,
So
sure.
it's no wonder that Zatanna became an invaluable member of both the Justice League of America and Justice League Dark. The Shadow the Hedgehog version, basically.
Zatanna harnessed an entire year's worth of sunlight into a single energy blast, created ruptures across all of space and time throughout the DC multiverse, and has even claimed she's as powerful as Superman himself. Pre-Crisis Superman, in case you were wondering.
Very strong.
Her only limit is her imagination and will. In fact, her backward speaking is mostly a stagecraft tradition meant to boost her concentration.
Really?
And she can cast a spell with a single thought, and I doubt anyone's winning a quick draw with her. She's matched superheroes like Martian Manhunter, who's scanned every mind on Earth in a blank instant. Or how about Dr. Fate, whose magic traveled across the universe at the completely immeasurable velocity of God.
Zatanna has fended off countless reality
Very
shattering
immeasurable,
threats
yes.
like the Eldritch Upside Down Man, Primordial Darkness, that is evil incarnate, and the Void Beyond Creation, Prolaya.
This shadow goop lady ate all of DC Comics, all of creation, everything. Gods, demons, rabbits, and spandex, everything. And Zatanna's magic was strong enough to hold her back.
And then,
Okay.
after secretly implanting Swamp Thing inside Prolaya, she weaved a spell within him to literally regrow all of reality back in seconds.
Zatanna tricked a being older than God and then blew her ass up from the inside with a whole new omniverse.
Okay, yeah.
Goddamn Dabra.
Such is the almighty power of Zatanna's will. Should it falter though, or should her focus be disrupted, it could all come crashing down like a house of cards. Belief is a fragile thing, after all, and her powers were weakened for a time after she lost belief in herself.
Aww.
And she's definitely got one
That's
big
like
weak
Spider-Man
point.
in Spider-Man
She's a
2.
huge daddy's girl.
Despite her amazing career, she has struggled within herself to live up to her father's legacy, especially after his heroic death.
And this MFer has died a lot of times. So Z's therapy can't be cheap, especially after dating John Constantine. Oh, I can just smell the lager and self-loathing from here. No, wait, that's me.
Questionable romance aside, Zatanna is a consummate professional raised on one singular principle. The show must go on, and she'll always finish strong with a standing ovation.
Okay. this got interesting
All right,
real
the bets
fast.
are set. We've run the data through all possibilities.
It's time for a death battle and
magic.
Pause. With magic, that's right. So I think Zatanna's going to win. I was thinking it was going to be Scarlet Witch for most of Zatanna's analysis. My beanie's like weird this time. Anyway, I thought it was going to be Scarlet Witch for most of the analysis. Mostly because they both basically have the power to just do whatever they want, right? They could both just rewrite reality in like any way they see fit. And I was leaning towards Scarlet Witch because they had been saying she was able to do whatever with a single thought. And then they were saying that like Zatanna could do whatever with a single word. And as we know, words take longer than thoughts, right? Especially if you have to say things backwards. Even if you can just say it backwards normally, like you were just speaking frontwards, you know? It still takes longer than thinking does, right? But then they also said that that was more of just like a stage thing for her own sake, for concentration, you know? And then they said that like she actually, you know, in a pinch, she could do things with a thought. And so apparently she does actually have the capability of casting those spells with a thought. I don't know if it was like only a specific spell that she could cast with a thought. They didn't specify from what I recall, so I just have to assume that she actually is capable of just using her magic without actually speaking. And so then we're left with, you know, to what extent can they actually rewrite reality? And apparently Zatanna's only limit is what she can come up with. And like Scarlet Witch's, it seemed to be about the same thing, but hers was not expressed quite as explicitly as that, you know? And then there was also like, Scarlet Witch did things that affected the omniverse of, you know, Marvel. But then Zatanna did the whole like, she held back someone, the god being, right? That affected all of DC. So like, I think that is everything. I think that's above the Omniverse, right? Because it was the Omniverse specific to Marvel, and then Zatanna's was everything DC. And on top of that, she was able to reach outside of the issue and affect the real world, is how we were supposed to think of it, at least as far as I gathered. And so it seems if they can both cast stuff with a thought, they can both rewrite reality, and they've both done amazing things as far as like how much of their worlds they've affected. Zatanna's seemed bigger. Like they matched the speed if it's both, you know, but like her reality warping seemed bigger. Hers seemed even less limited. Like I would say that Scarlet Witch's seemed limitless, but you know, Zatanna seems limitless +1 or -1, whichever one is better in this instance, right? And then let's look at them just as humans. Let's look at them just as humans. Even though Scarlet Witch was shot by a bullet that apparently had like world-shattering potential, which doesn't really make sense that she would be able to survive that if she was just a normal human, which makes me think she's not just a normal human. Whatever, right? At least on Zatanna's side, she's like, yeah, I'm as strong as Superman, you know? And so that's stronger than a world-shattering bullet. If that's the strongest like physical thing we give to Scarlet Witch, then Zatanna still one-ups that. So it does seem to me. And then I'll say one more thing that's coming to mind right now is Zatanna was able to outsmart that eldritch being, that god, whatever, right? That had, you know, messed up like all of DC itself. And so I think that even if she might lack confidence, would it happen the majority of the time, and would that lead to her faltering to her demise? I don't think so. I think that she probably could outwit and outpower Scarlet Witch. So unless I'm missing something, Zatanna is going to win this one. So bang.
Let's find out.
Oh, thank you. And for my first trick,
oh, why did you summon her as your trick?
What sort of two-bit sorcerer?
And yes, feel free to tell me what she said in reverse in the comments.
Perhaps I was being generous.
I know someone will timestamp every moment.
All part of the show, folks.
Yes, maintain the facade. With the cute little hat.
I'd say this calls for an Avenger!
An Avenger. I mean, Superman would beat the Hulk. I'd be willing to put money on that. It is cool though, seeing
between you and I.
Seeing how many people.
Well, I think the difference is presentation.
Which I appreciate.
I know a trick when I see one.
It's like, I don't know how to feel about that.
Universes.
You can't run forever. Now make like a magician and disappear.
Countless are dead after a tragic battle between two witches. Come on, Zatanna, you got this! She said no more sound. Zatanna doesn't need sound. Zatanna doesn't need it! Presumably.
A disappearing act was the first thing Dad ever taught me. And for my final trick, no more witches.
Is that it? Are we actually done?
And that's our show.
Hey! She did it!
KO! Now that's a magic trick
that's my girl.
For.
Analyzing this matchup was like walking on a tightrope. It could fall either way at any point.
Because at the end of the day, both these ladies could do basically anything with their magic.
And they both had like Plonk-related things. I thought that Zatanna's was a little better,
totally
but
even. At her peak, Wanda was able to threaten the stability of all creation.
And at Zatanna's best, she was able to hold back Prolaya, who could do the exact same thing. And despite some differences, the omniversal cosmologies of Marvel and DC Comics are roughly equivalent in size and scope.
Okay.
All that was left for us to look at was their weaknesses.
While both were as powerful as one another, Wanda needed to tap into the life force to reach that pinnacle, and doing so threatened her sanity.
Let's take a closer look at the events surrounding House of M, where
Let's,
Wanda's
yes.
powers were at their maximum.
Despite admitting that she was way stronger, Doctor Strange managed to get the best of Wanda with a cool head and a spell that briefly knocked her out cold.
His wits against her mental instability were enough to turn the tide.
To be clear, this instability definitely wouldn't affect her power. She was still strong enough to create a completely new alternate reality and then erase it just as easily.
Yeah.
What it would do is leave her open.
Also, take her No More Mutant spell. As insanely powerful as it was to affect the whole of Marvel's creation, it wasn't entirely successful. There was still a tiny portion of Earth's mutant population left unaffected.
Really?
Likely due to interference from Strange and Emma Frost.
Against Zatanna, who is just as strong and not losing her mind,
How does the
wouldn't be
interference
able to
work when it's
afford that
magic?
kind of lapse,
versus
even
like
for an
psychic
instant.
powers or
On
whatever.
the other hand, Zatanna has managed to maintain her willpower fighting foes just as strong as the Scarlet Witch, so she didn't have the same kind of exploitable weakness.
And remember, she doesn't actually need to say her spells backwards.
Right,
It
yes.
helps with her concentration, but all her spells come from her mental impulses, just like Wanda. She's consistently pulled off non-verbal spells in the past, even against beings as strong as Prolaya.
In the end, Z definitely had enough experience fighting smart and keeping on her toes to hang with Wanda long enough to get in a finishing blow.
Good,
While there were
good.
definitely versions of this battle that could have ended with Wanda victorious,
Absolutely.
Zatanna's cooler head and effortless magic allowed her to prevail.
I guess you could say Wanda never saw it coming, and Zatanna
saw it 'cause magic.
offed her.
The
Nice,
winner
nice.
is Zatanna.
Claps for Zatanna. Very cool.
Death Battle is back, and we've
It
launched a
is!
brand new membership program for our YouTube channel.
By directly supporting our team, you'll get unique emotes, badges, and additional content. And
if you want to be a champion, you can go and do that.
Thanks so much for watching.
Next time on Death Battle, we have... Oh, it's another JoJo. Oh, and Tanjiro? Tanjiro, right? Yeah, Jonathan Joestar versus Tanjiro from Demon Slayer. I like how they don't put like JoJo... unless I just missed it. They didn't put JoJo's Bizarre Adventure or even just JoJo's or JJBA or anything. But they did put Demon Slayer as though we're going to get confused with another Tanjiro. Maybe we would. Maybe that's just showing that I'm ignorant about anime. But that's the only Tanjiro that I know. So anyway, let's talk about this death battle. So I was right, yay me. I wasn't right for as many reasons as I would have liked to be, but I will give myself this. I was right about Zatanna being able, I was like, what's her name? Zatanna being able to outsmart Scarlet Witch and be able to keep her own cool, you know? I was right about that. I apparently was not correct about the DC, just all of DC compared to like affecting Marvel Omniverse. Because I guess that was saying like all of Marvel as well. I was thinking of it as a little less, like very close, but less. But you know, they mentioned that like if you actually scale them, they're pretty much the same in terms of like power or breadth or whatever. So fair enough. And another thing that I'll say for myself in defense of me, even though I don't need to defend myself, I was right for one. For another, I don't need to defend myself like ever. It's death battle. But just remembering things about, she doesn't actually need to say things backward. Heck, she doesn't even need to actually speak to cast her spells. She's been able to deal with like reality warping people before, that she herself has like warped reality, etc. Like, you know, to the same extent as Wanda, things like that. So I'm pleased with my own performance during this battle, because, you know, a big part of it for me is trying to make as accurate a prediction as possible. And so, you know, I'm pleased. I'm pleased. This isn't nearly as bad as like when I got Poe versus Iron Fist right, but I don't think I actually like deserved that win. You know what I mean? Like I think I got it right on a fluke, because at the end of the day, like, if you strip it down, each death battle to its most basic, it is a 50-50 chance. And then you just get like higher percentages depending on how well you were able to interpret the analyses that they presented, you know? So you start at 50-50, but then as you learn more, you try to weigh it and see like who gets more percentage by the end of it and what that ultimately means for the outcome. So yeah, like Poe versus Iron Fist, I didn't do a good job of predicting, even though I did get it right. But this one, I'm proud enough of myself. So about the death battle itself, enough talking about me like some kind of narcissist up here. I liked this death battle. I actually liked it quite a bit. I was concerned coming into this one because so many people seemed to want me to get this death battle out of the way. And maybe it wasn't because they thought this death battle wasn't anything special. Maybe it was just because it was another Marvel versus DC, or I know at least one person wanted me not to get it out of the way, but they were eager for me to watch it because it was one of their favorites of the season, if not all of Death Battle. So, you know, everyone has their reasons, but a lot of people did want me to watch this one sooner rather than later, and thankfully, you know, it was the next one. So here we are. But I did have my concerns coming into this one for that reason, because, you know, I want to be entertained. I want to love every Death Battle I watch. But yes, I did quite like this one. I thought that the fight itself, I thought it was smooth. I liked the way that it built up. I liked the way that it began, the way that it, you know, escalated and it just presented itself as a whole. I enjoyed the two characters, you know, like bantering back and forth, and Zatanna trying to maintain that, like, you know, showman facade, right? Show person, I suppose. Yeah, it was entertaining. And the one-ups in the episode too. It goes along with the escalation, but again, there was that showmanship involved that I thought was amusing. I don't really have issues with the analyses of this one. I'm pleased with how they cleaned things up or cleared things up in their conclusion. You know, again, talking about how things were so close, how, you know, like their weaknesses compared and how they were able to take advantage of those weaknesses or weren't able to in the end, you know, unfortunately or not. You know, they clarified that, like, yeah, there are definitely instances where these two would meet and Scarlet Witch would win, because when you can bend reality, yeah, Of course, of course you're gonna get some wins in there. But the majority of the time, it does make sense to me with what they presented and how they presented it, that Zatanna would win the majority of the time these two were to fight to the death. So yes, I like this death battle. Do let me know. Let me try that again. Do let me know what you thought about this death battle in the comments below, whether you liked it, whether you disliked it, what you thought about this or that, etc., so on and so forth. Then next time we will be watching, was it Jonathan Joestar? It was one of them. It was a JoJo versus Tanjiro from Demon Slayer specifically. So, hope you enjoyed that again. With that, we're calling it here. So have a good one, everybody.